President Trump tones down his travel ban. Oklahoma Trump supporters rally behind their president, and wait till you see how much money OU students have raised for sick kids. OU Nightly starts now. Travel ban part 2. President Trump today signed a revised version of the controversial executive order many called a Muslim ban.
It is a different executive order designed to produce the same results. Restrict entry into the U.S. of Muslims from certain countries. The White House hopes to avoid the airport confusion the first ban created. The new order affects travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries, not the original 7. Iraqis banned by the original order are now welcome as respected ISIS fighters. The new order goes into effect March 16th and expires after 90 days. It states that the ban does not apply to green card and valid visa holders. It does not prioritize religious minorities in refugee admission cases. And it no longer indefinitely bans Syrian refugees.
The head of OU's Muslim Student Association says the ban is hurting people who need the United States as a place of refuge, and that keeping refugees out of the country is a short-sighted policy.
History is a really good resource for when it comes to things like these. I feel like if you look at the past, I don't think we've ever had any terrorist attacks by refugee people. There are plenty of refugees in the United States who have been a big influence on this country. Steve Jobs' dad was one of them.
OU international students will not be prohibited from going in and out of the country due to the fact that they already obtained student visas.
An Oklahoma lawmaker is under fire once again for distributing a racist questionnaire. Republican State Representative John Bennett, who once compared Islam to cancer, required Muslims to answer a series of Islamophobic questions before agreeing to meet with them. There were 18 questions total in the questionnaire that included, do you beat your wife? Or asking if they denounced terror groups. Bennett's office faced questions regarding the questionnaire but has not commented on this matter yet.
A bill allowing state elected officials to carry handguns anywhere in Oklahoma passed the Senate Public Safety Committee. Senator Josh Breachin said threats to public officials make his bill necessary. There are some stipulations to the bill. The officials must complete a handgun qualification class. The rule only applies while an official is performing duties of their office, and they can only carry handguns during their term. If passed, Senate Bill 6 would violate the current Oklahoma gun law prohibiting handguns in any government building.
Since President Trump's election in November, millions of Americans have protested against him. But as our Fain reports, on Saturday, the protesters were with the president.
Thousands donned their red Make America Great Again hats and took to the streets to support the president. Cities like Austin, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, New York City, and even Trump's Florida getaway in Mar-a-Lago were sites of rallies for Trump.
Now, those throughout the country who rallied for President Trump were joined by several hundred here at the Capitol in Oklahoma City. Now, the crowd wasn't as big as many expected. A lot of that had to do with weather and wind. But those who were here believe that the president deserves their support now more than ever.
We say, Mr. President, we've got your back.
A rally in support of a sitting president isn't something that you see every day, but amidst the turmoil and controversy surrounding the Trump administration, Oklahomans gathered to reiterate why they voted for him in the first place.
He's not polished. I didn't like everything he said, but to me, he's just very honest because he is so outspoken, and I love that.
And it seemed mainstream Washington was a bureaucracy, and we felt like that he might bring a change, a refreshment to the change of what we need in our country.
The rally, of course, took place just after a series of tweets sent by President Trump accusing President Obama of wiretapping his phones during the 2016 campaign without evidence.
He has security people in all of the branches now. He is the president. I imagine if he says it, it's true. And everyone knows that Obama is trying to fight President Trump still, so I don't think it's news to anyone that he did that.
The Trump supporters I spoke to are tired of all the talk and ready for action, and believe that the president's agenda deserves a chance. Fain, OU Nightly.
At the end of the rally, an organizer told the audience that a march for Trump is being planned for Saturday, March 25th.
Abby Green is in the news center with more on Trump's accusation on the former president. Abby.
President Trump claimed that former President Obama wiretapped Trump Tower prior to the election with no evidence. The president also compared the alleged tapping to Nixon's Watergate scandal, calling Obama a bad or sick guy. Democrats are arguing that Trump is trying to deflect media attention from Trump's campaign ties to Russia. NCIS, not the TV show, but the real thing. The Naval Criminal Investigative Service is looking into the posting of potentially hundreds of explicit photos of female Marines to a private Facebook page. A link to the photos showed up on a Facebook group called Marines United. U.S. Marine Corps General Robert Neller tweeted yesterday that all Marines should respect each other because it's the key to their success. The Supreme Court is returning a transgender teens case to a lower court, leaving the issue of transgender rights in schools unresolved. The High Court action is a result of the administration's decision to withdraw a directive from President Obama's presidency that established which bathroom to use based on gender identity. The justices had no other comments on the case other than their order to return it to the 4th U.S. Court Circuit of Appeals. In Anna, Turkish President Erdogan proclaimed Germany is still using Nazi practices yesterday.
Thank you, Abby. Well, using a cell phone while driving in work and school zones would be illegal under a new bill that passed out of the committee on Thursday. Nightly's Nola Allinger has the story.
Currently, Lindsay Street is a pretty bumpy and winding road to navigate. Add a texting distraction to that makes for dangerous conditions for construction workers who say they see people texting and driving frequently.
All the time, actually, and I know some of our workers have almost got hit multiple times, so yeah.
Norman PD is concerned about this as well.
Any distractions, whether it's texting or your phone or your CD player, for the people who still have them, the kids, anything that would distract people, we would discourage from doing, especially in those times when they're more likely to encounter an unexpected obstacle or challenge. Construction zones, school zones, anytime they're around kids or parks, anything that would increase those chances, we would obviously urge caution on those.
Barber says that though he knows phone use is sometimes necessary, in areas with that much going on, it's best to focus on the road ahead. Nola Allinger, OU Nightly.
The bill must still go through the full Senate before advancing to the House.
I woke up earlier today, it was really cloudy, and I thought, it's going to be a cold day, I need a jacket, but
pleasantly
not at
surprised.
all, right?
Yeah.
Grant, why is that?
That's right. It is rather warm out there. We're actually sitting at 80 degrees right now. That's 20 degrees above average for this time of year. And that's in part thanks to these strong southerly winds you've experienced if you stepped outside today. Sustained at 22 miles per hour in Norman right now, 33 on the Panhandle, where they've seen gusts up to 60 today. And this is all part of a bigger weather story that I'll have more in Maine weather on this low pressure system centered right over Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Canada. With all these tornado watches, I'll have more and that in Maine weather coming up later. Back to you guys.
All right, well, still ahead on OU Nightly, a waving flag sparks protest.
Plus, we'll unveil the results from OU's biggest philanthropy. Welcome back. Descendants of Confederate veterans gathered in Shawnee Saturday to honor their ancestors and display their colors.
As you might expect, not everyone in Shawnee was happy about it. OU Nightly's Reagan Ledbetter was there. Reagan, did it come to blows?
No, there weren't any blows. The atmosphere was tense at times, but in the end, cooler heads prevailed. A calm Saturday morning at Woodland Park in Shawnee eventually turned heated. Why? A complete clash of ideas over one flag. The Sons of the Confederate Veterans held a Confederate Flag Day rally at the park in town, and protesters swarmed in to voice their message.
A lot of it has to do with misinterpretations. Like the Klan, I would say, uses it as a misinterpretation. Because the Klan we are not affiliated with the Klan at all.
To many people in this country, the Confederate flag represents negativity, hate, and racism. But the people here had a different message. To them, this rally supporting the flag is to pay respect to their ancestors.
It was used to promote racial prejudice. Those days are gone. The flag today, the people who use it today, use it to represent the bravery and courage of their ancestors who served the Confederacy. And that's what we're here today for. We don't want anybody who represents that other view here today.
Local protesters believe that if the supporters of the flag could let their message be heard, then they could as well.
We just want to make sure that everybody knows that there are people out there that aren't racist and that understand that the flag is bad, and we want to set a good example for everybody else in the community.
Through the strong winds, displeasure from the locals, and the harsh words, people on both sides agreed to disagree. It is through these get-togethers that these people are able to keep the legacies of their ancestors alive.
Way down south in Dixie.
I went to the rally expecting to find people who still hold on to racist beliefs, but I spoke to a lot of the descendants, and I believe that's a part of their past that they reject. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Reagan. Definitely interesting how much emotion can cover one symbol. Well, if you walked past Sarkey's Fitness Center this weekend, you probably heard music blasting and felt the ground shaking. OU's annual fundraiser, Soonerthon, raised more than $800,000 for the Children's Hospital. While they didn't reach their goal of $1 million, the event still raised $86,000 more than last year.
The Children's Hospital can always use that money, no matter what it is, no matter what the end total is. We just want to give as much as we can to those kids.
And more than 3,000 people participated in the fundraiser.
And still ahead on OU Nightly, OU baseball keeps on winning.
And Grant Tosterud is here with a peek outside.
That's right, clouds are starting to move out. Coming up next, I'll show you who will have the best chance for severe weather tonight. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Grant Tosterud. Well, look at that shot out there at the duck pond today. The clouds are starting to clear out, excuse me, and we have warmed up a degree, even up to 80 degrees, 20 degrees above average for this time of year. But if you've been out at all today, you know it's windy, southwesterly winds, almost at 30 miles per hour sustained, gusting to nearly 40. And you know it's humid out there too. It feels like one of those days where we could see severe weather, and you would be right. We've been covered by this blanket of clouds here that extends all the way up to Minnesota, all the way down to Texas, and a few severe storms starting to form off this cold front up in Nebraska, even a couple tornado warnings up there too. And this, once this moves out, will warm up our temperatures as the sun hits the surface, and that's going to give us a chance for some severe weather later tonight. 80 degrees is what we're sitting at in Norman right now, 79 in Oklahoma City, 79 down in Ardmore as well. And here's those dew points. There's the dry line out there. That's going to help with forming some storms later tonight too. On the east side of it, relatively moist. On the dry side, obviously drier. 36 degrees is the dew point in Elk City. 0 out in Guyman, so extremely dry out there, and that's fueling this fire danger too, with winds sustained at 30 miles per hour roughly across most of the state. And another ingredient in this, wind gusts, in the mid-30s as well. And these are all basic ingredients into this severe weather chance that we have later tonight. Now here's Oklahoma City, Norman right there. We do fall in this marginal risk area for severe storms tonight. So that means possibly an isolated tornado, some damaging hail as well, and some gusty winds. Better chance for severe weather off to northeastern Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas, where they have a tornado watch issued up there soon. Now, what can we expect for storms tonight? I expect them to develop into Oklahoma around 8:30 tonight, developing further around 10 o'clock, and between 10 and 10:30 is the best chance I see for storms here in Norman. And then through the overnight and into tomorrow morning, we'll see that continue to go into southeastern Oklahoma. So we do have a chance for severe storms in here in Norman, but don't bank on it too much. Lows tonight in the 40s, and then as you head out the door, warming up into the low 60s. Tomorrow, 67 for a high. The rest of the week, look at that. Sun, and more sun. 80 degrees by Friday, and then cooling it down once again for the weekend.
Great. Thank you, Grant.
Of course.
Well, Stephen, the men's basketball team ended their season on a high note last night. What can you get?
That's right, Anna, they did. But first, both gymnastics teams are still ranked #1. It wasn't an easy weekend for them, though. Also, it was senior day at the LNC this Saturday, but the seniors weren't the story of the game. Sports is around the corner. Welcome to OU Nightly Sports. I'm Stephen Mudd. The OU men's basketball team closed off the regular season in winning fashion. The Sooners hosted the TCU Horned Frogs for senior day. It wasn't a big day for the seniors, seeing as how 2 of them rarely play and Jordan Woodard is out for the season. Instead, it was a big day for the freshman duo Christian Doolittle and Cameron McGusty. Doolittle finished the night with 19 boards and 13 assists, while McGusty finished with 22 points on 8 of 4 shooting. The Sooners go on to win 73-68. First round of the Big 12 tournament, the OU women's basketball team took on the West Virginia Mountaineers, and it wasn't pretty. The Mountaineers jumped out to a 12-0 lead early in the first, and they never looked back. The Sooners shot 33% from the field and had 19 turnovers as the Mountaineers upset the Sooners 82-58. The OU baseball team did some cleaning up over the weekend as they swept the Central Connecticut State Blue Devils 4-0. In the 4th game of the series, the Sooners got off to a bit of a slow start, but quickly found their groove as they put together 3 runs in the 3rd and 5 runs in the 7th to cap an 11-2 win over the Blue Devils. The OU softball team wrapped up the Courtyard Marriott tournament this Sunday. They took on the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers in the final game of the tournament. Freshman pitcher Mariah Lopez had 8 strikeouts and only allowed 4 hits as the Sooners hold off the Hilltoppers in the championship game 2-1. The OU women's gymnastics team was in a dogfight this weekend as they traveled to Ann Arbor, Michigan to take on the 11th-ranked Michigan Wolverines. A meet that featured yet another perfect 10 from freshman standout Maggie Nichols. This perfect 10 came on bars, giving her a perfect 10 on each event this season. Chase Capps also scored a perfect 10, but on beam, lifting the Sooners to a victory over the Wolverines by a 1/10 of a point, 197.575 to 197.525. The story doesn't get much different for the men's gymnastics team as they traveled to Palo Alto, California to compete against the number 2 ranked Stanford Cardinals. The Sooners won all but 2 events and had the highest all-around scorer in Alan Bauer. The Sooners would hold off the Cardinals 432.350 to 432.050. And those busy top-ranked gymnasts will take a quick timeout to appear on Sooner Sports Pad tonight. Courtney Boggs has a preview. Courtney?
That's right, Stephen. The men's gymnastics team will be well represented in studio tonight. All-Americans Yoel Moldauer and Levi Anderson will be stopping by to chat. And of course, if you know me, gymnasts always make it a great show. Blakely Durham will also take a look at Patty Gasso's national champion softball team and whether they have a dynasty brewing. And of course, our lovely analysts will have their weekly viral videos to show off. So be sure to catch us live on Fox Sports Oklahoma at 7:30 tonight or right here on OU TV tomorrow at 5 after the news. Back to you, Stephen.
Hey, thanks, Courtney. The Oklahoma City Thunder continue to struggle without guard Victor Oladipo after losing their 3rd straight game. This loss came to the Dallas Mavericks in D-Town. The Thunder couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat, shooting an abysmal 9% from the three-point line. Russell finished with 29 points on 8 of 24 shooting as the Mavs rout the Thunder 104-89. Now, my friend Logan Hammonds, his favorite basketball player is Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan's always ended up on the top 10 plays, but this time he was not on the top 10. Take a listen to what he had to say.
So with that note, I want to welcome Coach for all the hard work and the dedication he's done for the football team and a lot of the players here tonight. I wish you guys nothing but best. The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward. Congratulations.
The ceiling is the roof and the ground is the floor. Captain Obvious is Michael Jordan. Take us away, guys.
He's not wrong. Thanks, Stephen.
Still to come on OU Nightly, we'll tell you what's so special about this house. Welcome back. A Russian company is revolutionizing the way we think about construction. 24 hours and 1,100 square feet later, the company Apis Core claims that this building is the first house created using a 3D printer. Apis Core has more plans beyond this house. The innovative construction startup says that it has developed a 3D printer specifically designed to create buildings on site.
Yeah, it's really interesting because that is a pretty inexpensive way
it's a cheap
to
building,
get some
and that's
housing,
one of the goals they want out of it, to get people who can't afford it. So yeah.
Great, awesome. Can we take one last look at weather?
That's right. Chance for severe weather tonight. Best chance to the north and east. Can't rule out a tornado either, so be sure you're weather aware tonight. Cooler tomorrow, then warming up again through the rest of the week. 80 by Friday, then Then another cold front comes through with a slight chance of rain on Saturday.
Great, thanks, Grant. Well, thank you for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you right back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.